I failed my first group ride, and the weird thing is, it had nothing to do with cycling. 2 weeks ago, I headed down to my local cycling club, said my hellos, and set off for what would be my first group ride. And within minutes, I realised this wasn't what I expected this to be. I thought this was going to be about keeping up, not being the one that drags everybody back, because after all, nobody wants to be that person, especially on the first ride. But you see, that's not what it felt like at all. It wasn't just about keeping up, it was everything else around me. It was constantly checking where I was, noticing who was comfortable and who wasn't, and basically just trying to figure out if I was the weakest rider there. I was. And there was one moment where I remember where the pace slightly started to pick up. The gap between the wheel in front of me and myself started to get bigger. Not enough for anybody else to notice, but enough for me to know. And in that moment, it stopped being about cycling, and it started feeling like something else. It felt like I was being measured, not just by how I was riding, but where I sat in the group, who I was next to, and if I was truly the weakest rider in the group. I was constantly thinking, how long can I hold this pace for? And that's when it clicked. I wasn't uncomfortable because of the ride per se. I was uncomfortable because I didn't know where I stood in the group. I thought I failed because I couldn't keep up with the group, but in reality, I just wasn't used to being the worst one there. And that's what I got wrong. I thought being the worst one there meant that I didn't belong and I shouldn't be attending these type of sessions. But it actually just showed me that I'm exactly where I need to be. Because being the slowest one or the weakest one there wasn't a sign of failure per se. It was just a sign of me getting better. Because that exact feeling is the reason why I hadn't joined the group ride any earlier in my journey. And that feeling is the exact reason why I haven't tried a lot of new things in my life. It wasn't the fear of the actual ride or my fitness per se. It was just the fear of being seen as the worst one there. I say all of that to say this. If you've been willing to try something, thinking about starting something new, but you're worried about being the worst one there, just try it. Because at the end of the day, the person who's the worst ends up learning the most. Because from what I've seen, you don't grow when you're comfortable, you grow when you're trying to keep up. There's so many people ahead of you that you can learn from, so many tips, pieces and advice that they can give you to accelerate your learning. And that's what I learned from my group ride. I was at the back for the majority of the ride, and they were giving me so many tips and advice that made my journey a whole lot easier compared from the start to the finish. Tips on how to position myself in a group ride, what gears to pick and when to switch. And all of these little things only come from being in an environment where people are better than you, ahead of you, and had more experience on the saddle. But this goes beyond cycling. So if you've been willing to try something new, just start it. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Boom.